Hey guys, today I am doing a 10 tips to help get your classroom end of the year ready. So for me, by the time this video is going up, I have 9 days left of school. 9 days with my kids, 9 days before summer starts, which is mind-blowing to me. So it is that time of the year where a lot of teachers are getting ready to pack up their classrooms, put things away, get things ready for the summer, and start thinking about what's going to be happening next year with your new students. I know it's hard because you do love your kids right now and you are going to miss them terribly, but your mind already starts thinking to the next year because that's just what we naturally do. So I have 10 tips for you today that is going to help you get you ready for the end of the year, keep your stress level down, and also get you prepared for next year and help you enjoy your summer. So if you're curious to what my 10 tips are, keep watching. Now, I have 10 tips, and these 10 tips are not in any particular order. It was just my brain dump and what I was writing down as far as what I thought were the most valuable things for me whenever I am getting ready for the end of the year. So none of these are in particular order. You can do things one before the other. It doesn't really matter. It just works for whatever fits best for your needs. I'm just giving you what works best for me and my 10 tips that I think are going to help many different teachers. Something else to keep into consideration when you're watching this for the 10 tips is that you also have to take into account your school and your administration. So some school districts do things a little bit different. Some may have you pack up your entire room, put everything inside of boxes. Others will let you keep certain things out. Some administrators will let you start packing things little by little as you get closer and closer to the end of the year. Some don't let you touch a single thing until after all the students are gone. So take into consideration your school district, your administration, when you're also getting ready for the end of the year. My very first tip for you guys is to have a donate and trash pile. So it is so important that you do not, under any circumstances, throw everything into a box and say, I'll do it next year. I'll do it at the beginning of the year, or I'll do it during the summer, because it never happens. I am somebody who lives at school and I don't even come back during the summer unless it's me getting ready for the next year and getting things ready. And during those times, I'm not worried about trying to put papers back to where they need to be or file things or figure out whether I want to clean out this drawer. That just doesn't happen. If it's going to happen, it happens now because I'm kind of in that spring fever where I'm wanting to clean everything out. So start thinking about what are some of the things that you want to clean through, what are the file folders that you need to go through, and start creating a donate and trash pile. That bucket that has a crack in it, don't keep it. Either donate it or throw it out. If you haven't used it in a year, throw it out. If you don't think that you're going to use it ever again, throw it out or donate. My school is really awesome because they have a kind of a general area where all the teachers get together, and we put all the donated items up there. So if other teachers need those items, they can take them. If it's not taken away by the very first days before school starts next year, we will donate it. So if you don't have that in place at your school, talk to your administration, because it is really nice to be able to share some of the things that you have, other resources that you have that may benefit another teacher. Something else to keep into consideration when you're creating that donate and trash pile, guys, if you don't throw things out, if you keep thinking, oh, I might use it next year, oh, I might do this, you're not being a creative and innovative teacher. You're not wanting to think outside of the box if you're using the exact same things over and over and over again. Throw it out, get rid of it, and start fresh. It may be a little stressful and a little scary because you're like, oh my goodness, I have that. But we don't want to be those teachers that do the exact same things every year, because every year our kids are changing. Every year our standards are changing. So really focus on that and don't try to be a teacher hoarder. There are a lot of teacher hoarders out there. You don't want to be a teacher hoarder. It gets very dusty and gross and messy. So throw things out or donate it. Tip number 2 for you is to create a student desk, teacher desk, and beginning of the year box. So For me, I create these 3 little boxes. I even have other boxes that I use, some that are for whole group and small group and for my small group area. Things that I know that I leave out on my table, but I don't want them to fall, so I put them into boxes and label them. But most importantly are going to be your beginning of the year teacher desk and student desk, because those are going to be the ones that when you walk in to start getting your classroom ready, those are the ones that you're going to want to have the most, because that is going to be what you have to have in order to have that first day of school. First day of school is very relaxed. You're just setting the routine, setting the stage for what's going to be happening for the rest of the year. So you don't need a lot of the other things, because chances are you're probably not going to start small groups that very first day, unless maybe you're in the upper grades. I'm not sure. But for me in lower grades, I don't start small groups the very first day. So a lot of it is just me getting to know my students and some of the other activities that we do. But the most important things that I have to have are going to be my teacher desk for anything that I have to communicate with parents, my students' desk just to get them their items and their spaces set up, and my beginning of the year box, which pretty much has everything that I know that I will be using for the beginning of the year. That way too, I know where those 3 boxes are. I stick them purposefully in a little area where I want it to be, and I know where it's going to stay, and I don't have to stress out looking for those 3 boxes. And I can just pull those out when I get there in August and get everything set out and ready to go. That way, my stress level is down and I feel prepared for the next year. Tip number 3 for you is actually something that another teacher showed me. And she did this one year because she was moving classrooms and she was really afraid that her items would get thrown out and messed up and spilled all over the floor. So she had this idea to get a large roll of plastic wrap. And you can get this from Lowe's or from Home Depot. But it's a large roll of plastic wrap, and she wrapped her books inside of their boxes that she already had them in for her library. I thought that this was genius, especially if you are one that has your library organized. Go ahead and during this time of year, pick out your 2 or 3 most responsible students who you know will do everything right. Have them reorganize your library, make sure everything is pretty much where it needs to be, and start plastic wrapping your containers basically, so that when they are moving and they are shifting things, nothing is going to fall out, nothing gets misplaced, everything is still in its nice little neat container, and you don't have to worry about it again for next year. Something else that I really like about it, I went and bought this roll about 2 years ago and it cost me about $20, and it's still going. It still works for me, and I've been very impressed with it. I really like it. It keeps my my mind at ease, so I know that when we have high school volunteers that come in during the summer, because our floors get stripped and they get re-waxed every year during the summer. And when they come in to help shift all the furniture from one end to the other end, nothing is going to fall out and nothing's going to get misplaced or thrown out onto the floor, which is probably every teacher's worst nightmare, is to come in and everything's spilled all over the place. So to help prevent that, even if you're moving from one classroom to the other, one school to the other, or if they're just staying in the place and they're just shifting things from one side to the other to get your floors cleaned, everything is in a nice little place and nothing is going to fall out. So plastic wrap, if you haven't already thought about it or tried it, definitely give it a go this year because it is wonderful. Tip number 4 for you is to begin early. Now, again, take into consideration your administrators and your school district. I know that there are some administrators out there that don't like you to touch anything in your room until the very end of the year. But no worries, because you can be doing things behind the scenes in your classroom. So those files that you wanted to put away, or the things that you wanted to start cleaning out, the library that you wanted to get organized, start getting some of those things done. Recruit some of your parents, recruit your kids to come in and to help you get those things organized. They get so excited when you ask them to help with anything. They love the idea. All they want to do is just be your helper for the day. So recruit them, get your classroom organized and set up, get your boxes ready to go so that when it comes to that point where you can start pulling things down, you can go ahead and start getting things in its nice and specific place so it's organized and ready to go for the next year. So begin early, even sit down and write down a game plan of what it is that you want to accomplish. what are the things that you for sure want to do? Maybe it is you want to clean out a file cabinet. Maybe it's you want to reorganize some of the supplies that you have, or you want to go through and make sure all the markers work, or the glue sticks, or the things that just kind of drive you crazy during the middle of the year that you just never really have time to get done because you have 15 other things that you have to be doing for the day. So those things, this is the time to start getting those things done. And if you're lucky and you have an administration who starts letting you take down certain things, go ahead and start taking those things down. My kids came in the other day and they just kind of looked at the room and they just said, what happened? Because some of our shelves got moved. Some of the things that were on our whiteboard got taken off because it's not items that we use anymore. At this point. For us at this point, we're doing lots of hands-on experiments and things outside. So a lot of the things that we're using in the classroom that we had been using in the classroom, we're no longer using. So I went on ahead and took those things down, put in its specific box. So again, when I come in August, I can just take it out of that box and put it right on back up. And I don't have to stress out about it. So begin early, get a game plan ready, and recruit some of your kids and your parents to help come in and get your things organized. Tip number 5 for you is to use plastic containers whenever possible. Now I know plastic containers can be a little bit expensive, so buying them here and there as you go along every single year is going to benefit you quite a bit. For me, I put all of my things into my plastic containers so that I know that if I have to move them or I have to shift them, everything is in its nice little neat spot and I don't have to worry about anything falling out or having to move things or repackage things. My math manipulatives, I don't keep them inside of open containers. I have nice little snapped containers that I know for a fact that if something falls or if I have to move anything, I can just stack them and then move them. That plastic wrap I was telling you about earlier, I would take that back out, put a bunch of those containers together and wrap it all up so that I can carry it in one big bulk. And again, it makes it easier for me to transport and I don't have to worry about all of the smaller containers. So definitely try to think about what is it that you can use in your classroom to put inside of some type of a container. I even have some smaller containers that I use for extra school supplies in my classroom so that my students know that they can just go and grab that container, and it has some of the extra things that we use like the glue sticks and scissors and pencils and etc., things like that. But it's very nice and neatly organized and it's set in these containers that are not going to spill and I don't have to worry about them or clean them out. I don't have to worry about them spilling all over the place. So use plastic containers, start investing in some. I'll leave a link down below to some of my favorite ones that I've used for my theme boxes and other ones that I've used for my math manipulatives and my extra supplies. Tip number 6 for you is, again, with plastic wrap. Y'all love me some plastic wrap. Like, no lie, I really do love me some plastic wrap. That plastic wrap, take that back out because this is what I do with it. I have some really nice shelves that my husband bought me from IKEA, and I have a really nice desk that I use in my classroom that my husband also got for me. So I don't want those to get messed up. And again, we have volunteers that come in and help shift everything from one end to the other, and I don't want those to get messed up. So what I do is I plastic wrap those shelves to help prevent any scratching or any dings that may happen during the move. Also, for those smaller shelves, the ones that really don't have a lot of things on it, but you don't want to have to go through the trouble of finding boxes and unpacking it all up inside of those boxes. You want to keep it on the shelf. Plastic wrap those shelves with all of the items on the shelf still. If it's not too heavy and you know it's not going to be something that's going to fall apart when they're trying to move it, plastic wrap it. So that way it helps prevent anything from falling out and everything is in its nice little neat space, and all you got to do is just cut it up and then unwrap it and you're ready to go for the next year. Plastic wrap is by far one of my favorite things to use in my classroom now. My next tip for you is to cover your bulletin boards and your shelves that are mounted to your walls. So these are shelves that do not move. Now, again, this depends on your school, your district, your administration. But for me, the shelves that are mounted to the wall, these are shelves that do not move. We don't have to take anything down from them. And the bulletin boards, I don't have to take anything down from them. We get to leave those up pretty much all summer. Now, there was one summer where we did have to take it down because we were getting painted. This year, we're not going to get painted, so everything stays where it is. So this is what I do. We have these really big long pieces of paper, of just butcher paper from my school. And I pull this out at the very, very end of the school, probably maybe the day before or the day that is the last day of school. But it gives my kids something to do during this time when everything's pretty much packed away. So I take out this large piece of bulletin of butcher paper and I give my kids themes. So I say, you know what, you're going to create an ocean theme. You're going to create a dragon themes and dinosaur things, because I have kids, certain things that interest some of my students. And they get to create like a landscape of it, and they get to write little things and words and pictures inside of that butcher paper. But that's what I use to help get my kids engaged. And then once they're done with it and we're finished, I can just take it and I cover my bulletin boards and I cover my shelves. And I just adhere it with some type of duct tape or that packaging tape, and it stays up and everything gets nice and covered, so that if there are workers that come in during the summer or they're cleaning your floors and there's sometimes get splashes, none of your stuff is going to get ruined because it's all covered. And plus, it helps to reduce the amount of dust that kind of starts collecting over the summer. So then you can come in August and just take everything down and you're ready to go. Tip number 8 is to get your bulletin boards ready for the next year. So I know that my calendar is going to be set up. I'm going to have some type of a daily data that's going to be set up, just some kind of question where they can use for their attendance. Anything that I know that I'm going to be using for the next year for my bulletin boards, I go ahead and set those up and have them ready to go. Again, so when I come in August, I don't have to stress out about it. All I have to do is take down that paper and I'm ready to go, and I can focus on what's most important, like setting up all of the name tags and getting everything labeled for my students and making sure that I have everything prepared for my parent night and my meet the teacher night. So go ahead, get your bulletin board set up for the beginning of the year so that when you come in at the beginning of the year, you don't have to worry about it. And it helps you to also enjoy your summer just a little bit more, because you don't have to stress out about having to go in and getting everything set up for the next year. It's already been done for you. So tip number 9 is to make copies for the next year. So for my school, we're given a certain number of copies each semester. So by the end of the year, if we have extra copies, we're going to use them for the next year. We pull out things that we know we're going to need for parent nights, for meet the teacher, and for the first few weeks of school. Now, we're not going to have everything copied for the first few weeks of school because, again, we want to be creative, we want to be innovative, and we really want to think outside of the box. And if we're doing the exact same thing every year, 1, it's going to get boring, and 2, we're not trying to grow as teachers. So you're going to get some of those things done, those things that you know are not going to be, that will not change. So like that basic information that you always give out to parents, you can go ahead and make those copies. And remember those boxes that I told you about that you labeled for the beginning of the year? You'd put those copies inside of that box so that when you show up in August, a lot of it's going to be done for you already. And again, you're not stressed out. You're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And you can focus on what's most important. So definitely, if you already know what you're going to be doing for the next year, or if you have a team person who, if you're moving to another grade level and they know what they're going to be doing and you can just kind of take from them, definitely do that. Make some of those copies now so that you're not stressing about it for the next year. My very last tip for you guys is to place an order for next year. So we use Office Depot for our office supplies and just all your general things that you're going to need for next year. I know that for us, we get lanyards, we buy the little luggage tags so that we can make luggage tag labels for our students' backpacks. So a lot of those different things that I know I'm going to need for next year and I want to go ahead and have it prepared and ready to go, I could make a purchase order at the end of the year and have a lot of it ready. Again, that beginning of the year box, that's where I put a lot of that stuff. So again, I have it, and I can just pull it out in August and I don't have to worry and I don't have to stress out and worry about getting that order in on time because I have a lot of it already done. So get together with your team, start thinking about what it is that you're going to need for the beginning of the year. What are going to be the most important things? Like maybe you're going to do a craft and you need construction paper, glue sticks, or you know for a fact that you may have about, 10 students, or you want to anticipate that you have 10 kids who are not going to have any school supplies. So you want to make sure you have some for them. Go ahead, make that pre-order, get it in now so that you can put it into the box and you don't have to stress out about it at the beginning of the year. Okay, so those were my 10 tips for getting your classroom ready for the end of the year. I hope that this video was helpful for you guys and gave you some really great advice. If you have a tip that you really enjoyed, please leave it down below. Or if you have another tip that maybe I didn't mention, but you really think it works great in your classroom, leave it down below too, so that other viewers can kind of look through the comments and we can really learn from each other. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will talk to you guys really soon. Bye! Tingle. I mean, how fitting is that? It's called Tingle, and they will sit here and they will just literally twist it at the carpet. Now, if you don't have Tingle, that's okay.